Mate, it's got a bit of power in it.
I squealed like a girl.
You did. But when it comes to Daniel, I don't think we should show him this.
Do you not?
No, I think if he sees us doing this, he may have worries about what he's going to get.
I think it shows the power of air, though, doesn't it? I mean, the stored energy there is tremendous.
I think I should have a go, really, shouldn't I? Do you know the embarrassing thing is if I don't go off the end? You ready?
Yes.
Here we go!
The experiment seems to have convinced ex-army man Dick that Air Force could be a high flyer. But they don't want to fire off all that air in one go. That would be impractical and clearly quite dangerous. They need to find a way of safely releasing the air to provide a more controllable and sustained motion.
Well, if you think about our bike cannon as being one big piston, okay, what we need is lots of small pistons that then drive a shaft round, just like any other piston motor, except this one's powered by air. So this will be an air motor.
Right, we haven't got time to make one of those, so I take it we're going to source it.
Yeah, I think we've got to find the right kind of piston air motor from somewhere. Then we need something to store the air that we're going to send to the motor, and fire extinguishers like we used up here are just not going to do the trick. So then we need some kind of air storage, and then we need pipes from there to take the air to the motor. And then we want some kind of drive off that motor, and I figure chain and sprocket's our best bet, down to the back wheel of our vehicle.
What's the vehicle, mate?
I thought a nippy little two-wheeler would be perfect. So there's the back wheel, and then we come off here, like that. There's the front wheel up here, and I need to find us a lightweight moped.
So they're building a moped powered by fresh air. They'll replace the petrol engine with an air motor and the gas tanks with compressed air cylinders. High-pressured pipes will deliver air to the motor, and a chain from the motor will drive the back wheel. Jem's idea to use a second-hand scooter is ecologically sound. Not only does it save time constructing a frame, recycling old vehicles is much better for the environment than using new materials. The moped doesn't need a good engine, just a structurally sound, lightweight frame.
After a scooter.
Jem's in luck. This motorbike shop has just the right model out the back.
This is the one.
Oh,
nice and light.
There's nothing to it. That'd be ideal. What do you want for it?
Nothing, you can just take that one away.
Thank you very much.
Take it away.
Jem's saving another vehicle from the scrap heap. He's a big fan of recycling. Fortunately, he doesn't mind pedal cycling either.
That looks like hard work, mate.
Yeah, it packed up about 400 yards from the shop.
OK, what we want to do is we want to turn this into our eco-delivery vehicle.
Yep.
This is not exactly
That's got to
the
come
right...
off. That can come off, at the very least. Even if we do nothing to the chassis, we should take all this off.
The moped's frame is ideal. But that old petrol-driven engine and its smog-belching exhaust is the last thing needed on an eco-friendly delivery vehicle. It's got to go. And Colonel Dick is mounting an all-out offensive. His strict regime will knock this bike into shape as a new, clean, green delivery machine run on air. This is the first time either Dick or Jem have built an air-powered vehicle, and Dick is keen to do some homework. To get the lowdown, Dick is travelling to Nice in the south of France. This is no jolly, and Dick hasn't got time to soak in the sun. He's got an appointment at Motor Development International. Guy Negra is heading up a team developing a range of air-powered cars. Guy's air motors are shrouded in industrial secrecy.
Bonjour, Monsieur Negre.
But son Cyril has agreed to discuss the basics.
This is what we call the mini cat. It's a small car for the town, using just compressed air.
It's very modern. It looks good.
It is, yes.
But what's underneath? This is what I'm interested in.
The air motor is built into the rear of the base frame or chassis and is powered by these large air tanks.
The size of the tanks
Yeah.
Is this what you're expecting to put in a production vehicle?
Yes.
How many litres is that?
Well, this one is 300 litres.
That's a lot of air.
That's a lot of air, but that's what you need to drive a car in a city.
With 300 litres of air, how long can this run?
Well, this kind of car, which is very light, it's 550 kilo, will run
Is that all?
140 kilometers in town.
How fast does it actually go?
This is enough to drive the car up to 110 kilometers per hour.
110, that's fast.
Yeah.
So can I have a go?
Yeah,
I can drive one.
you can.
Here we go.
With a push-button start and paddle gears, the Minicat is a breeze to drive.
Air-powered.
Its super light fiberglass chassis means it's incredibly cheap to run, costing less than €1 per 100 kilometres.
Absolutely no pollution.
In cities where 60% of motorists drive at less than 50 kilometres per hour, it seems like the ideal emission-free vehicle. When the car stops at traffic lights, the motor doesn't use any air at all, unlike petrol engines, which still belch out fumes when idling. This company have been working on the air car for over 14 years, and they plan to put the car on the European market in the next 18 months.
It sounds like a tractor.
The car's engine doubles up as an air compressor, so when parked up, it can be plugged into a normal electric socket, and it will recharge the tanks with fresh air in 3.5 hours. The company anticipates the installation of air refilling points next to petrol pumps. This means that when the air runs low, the tanks can be topped up in just 3 minutes.
If we need some more air, all we got to do is squirt it in there. It's as simple as that.
Dick.
Bonjour, Jem. How you doing, mate?
All right. What's the news from France?
The air car was fantastic, mate. It really was good. Huge big tanks. They've got massive range. It's impressive. It's nice to have seen somebody's done it before us, but it's very different to what we're building.
France has posed a problem for the Planet Mechanics. The air car is built around 3 huge air tanks. The moped may be nippy and manoeuvrable, but it doesn't have much space for air storage. While Dick hightails it back from France, Jem gets on calculating how much air is needed to drive the bike around Bath.
Dick. All right, mate. Calculation done?
I've got good news and bad news.
Right, give me good news.
Good news is I think we can do it.
Bad news?
I reckon we need at least 8,000 litres of air.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much into something we can fit on the bike.
Right, how are you going to do that?
Very high pressure. Diving bottles, they're kept at 300 bars, so that's like 300 times atmospheric pressure.
That's dodgy, isn't it?
That is the same pressure that you get 3 kilometres below the sea. But you think about the tyres on this truck. They're what, about 2 atmospheres?
Yeah.
So it's like 150 times higher pressure than the tyres on our truck.
Yeah, but what actually happens if you have a problem with that? Remember, safety was one of our tips here.
In all honesty, Dick, I cannot even picture it.
Because the air must be stored at such high pressures, Dick and Jem are worried that recreational scuba tanks may not be safe to put on the air bike. To find out more, they decide to simulate what might happen in a road traffic accident by puncturing a gas bottle. Using a full-size scuba tank would be far too risky, so they're using a much smaller gas bottle with lower pressure. They're building a contraption from a pair of giant bolt cutters, which can be triggered to snip the end off at a safe distance. When they tug on the rope trigger, the heavy buckets of sand on the end of the extended levers will pull the arms of the bolt cutter together, slicing through the top of the gas bottle.
This is like mousetrap. This has got to make that fall, they come together, and off goes the bottle. Yeah. I'll put your helmet on before we do this. I think we're at that sort of stage, aren't we?
Yes.
We have to walk in a brisk manner over to those rocks to hide before we pull the string, all right? Yeah. That does not mean run.
Okay. It's done.
Time for them to release the safety catch and prime the trigger. Jem and Dick have no idea which way the bottle will fly, so it seems wise to beat a tactical retreat.
I don't reckon the bottle will reach the sea. I couldn't be more intrigued.
Do you know what? We just got right number.
I really couldn't.
Okay.
Right.
I take it you want the honour of doing it.
Yes, in all honesty, Dick, I do. But I'm pretty
Start.
curious.
Oh, we got to pull. Here we go. Is Orion happy? Okay. Hold on.
When the bolt cutters snip the bottle, it shoots off uncontrollably. It's an uncomfortable display of the potential danger of compressed gas. If the air bike was involved in an accident in the congested city centre, the air canisters could become like projectiles, delivering nothing but chaos to the citizens of Bath. The Planet Mechanics Seaside Stunt is a sober demonstration of the hazards of working with compressed air. The lesson is clear, and Dick has tracked down some high-performance carbon fibre gas cylinders tried and tested in extremely hazardous situations.
Oh, where on earth did you get that?
The fire service.
This is their breathing apparatus.
Yeah, absolutely. They take it into burning buildings, things fall on it, it should be safe. What do you reckon?
It's a bit small.
What?
It says 9 litres. It's big, but it only contains 9 litres. I reckon we need 2 of these. Other than that, Dick, I think that's perfect.
When filled with air at 300 times atmospheric pressure, 2 of these 9-litre cylinders will hold a total of 5,400 litres of air. It's not nearly as much as Jem wanted, so he's ordered the best air motors he can find. But these motors are normally used in paint stirring machines or commercial food production, not motorbikes.
Have you seen inside of these fellas? You've got to have a look at this. There's literally almost nothing to go wrong.
That's it. But the actual pistons are going to drive this around.
Yeah, so they drive that bearing round there.
Yeah, and that's... Ah, right. It's nice and simple.
There are 3 pistons inside the air motor. They work alternately, pushing the central hub around. This hub turns the sprocket on the outside of the motor, which in turn is linked to the back wheel. Now Dick and Jem need to decide where to place the 2 air motors.
Right,
We're going to line. Oh, quite like that. How's that look?
dreadful.
The most obvious place is where the old petrol engine was, but there's not enough ground clearance, and Dick is worried the air motor will soon get damaged.
You know, to be fair, this is the most expensive part we've got.
Well, how about we chuck it on the back rack?
So they'll need to build a new strong rack on the back of the bike to mount their air motors.
When we get this done, what's the next thing?
What's the next thing?
Yeah.
There's the bottles, the high-pressure piping, the low-pressure piping. There's the gears, the back brake, the front brake. There's probably a throttle to put on it. There's a new back wheel, because that one's got a crack in it.
So
we've
we're
got to
nearly
put
done.
a hub gear in, another sprocket.
So we're nearly done.
I'm sure I'll find something to do, Dick.
They've got a mechanical mountain to climb, and just 3 days to do it in. Dick starts on the rack for the air motors. Because the air motors have a different power output to the old petrol engine, Jem has to manufacture a whole new set of gearing cogs to power the back wheel. He needs to maximise torque or twisting force. Torque is very handy. For example, when you use a wrench, you apply a force to the handle. This force creates torque on the nut, which turns the nut. For the same pushing force, a longer handle on the wrench gives more torque, making the nut easier to undo. The same principle works for gears. A bigger cog makes it easier to turn the wheel, which will be vital for getting up Bath's hills. Jem's using bicycle components because they're lighter than motorbike parts, but matching up the two is proving tricky.